On August 6, 2019, Officer John George and fellow officers of the Sahuarita Police Department in Arizona responded to a Walmart after a manager reported a man walking through the store wearing a motorcycle helmet. 22-year-old Freedom Fendler was on his way to WAC, had purchased several items, and was preparing to leave when officers surrounded him near the exit. The interaction that followed was captured on officer body camera.
Hey, bud, you got some ID on you? Hey.
Hey.
You have some ID on you? Hold on. What's up? You have some ID on you? Sure. No problem? Yeah, management's been asking you to take your helmet off while you're walking around in the store and you're just ignoring them. What are you talking about, man? Do you think I'm talking just to...
Dude, do me a favor, take your helmet off. You're not going to speak with us with your helmet on.
Okay. Let's take your helmet off. Oh. Yeah, music playing.
Sorry?
Oh, man. I have music playing, so if someone's trying to talk to me, it's probably can't hear them. But I wasn't trying to talk to you.
She asked for your last number. Well, did you make a purchase?
Yeah.
You have your receipt with you?
Dropping everything, man. Yeah, yeah.
So he said that he had music playing in his helmet.
I walked right up to him, just like I'm talking to you right now. Stood right there. So I knew
Okay.
No, updated with MVD?
Yes, it is.
I live in a motto.
Okay.
So did you see the manager basically walk up right to your face and ask you to take off your helmet? How'd you not see that?
I saw him talking, but he's got a headset on.
I'm standing
so.
right next to you. Right next to you. I came up and I said, sir,
I thought you were going this way. I didn't hear
I
you.
said, stop. I followed you halfway throughout the store.
So let me ask you something. What's the purpose of keeping the helmet on?
It's just faster to get to work, man. Like I said, I'm on my way to work.
Where do you work at?
Work at Jim Click, right
Okay.
there.
So you walk through the store. What'd you buy?
I bought a sandwich, a Gatorade, 2 peaches, a scrubber, I think 4 pens, and a toothbrush.
Okay.
That's it.
So you just
Basically
kept.
everything on here.
Let me see it.
I couldn't
So
find a
you
basket.
keep the helmet on. You walk around.
Yeah, I do that.
Grab
at
all this
Safeway,
stuff.
I go to other Safeway. I go Fry's. Except for when I go to the bank.
I mean, he knows I know because I ride. He rides.
Yeah.
It's not. It doesn't take much effort to take it off, put it back on. I mean, it takes maybe like 5 seconds, 10 seconds,
It
if that.
doesn't, man. But I've never had any issues where it was like take it off or a sign saying that you need to have it off. And like I said,
That's why the manager asked you to take it off.
Like I said, I didn't hear him. I had music playing throughout the
Okay.
street.
You didn't see me? I'm standing right in front of you.
I saw you there, and then I saw you talk. But like again, you have a headset on, so
Well, I can't put my hands on you to get your attention. I was standing
Yeah,
right next to you.
I didn't.
Just like I'm standing
I
here with
didn't
the
see
officer.
you come next to me.
I stood right in front of you, just like I'm standing here. I said, I need you to stop and listen to me. You totally ignored me and kept walking.
Sir,
I got
have music
associates
playing,
that were upset and concerned because you're walking around with a backpack with a helmet. Nobody knows who you are.
But I made a purchase.
I'm concerned about the safety of my
Stop him
associates.
now, okay? You're an argumentative person, and I am not the person you want to argue with. You need to take
You
your
want his?
stand and you need to go like this and pull your head out of your ass, okay? Because you're walking around in a store hiding your face. There's shooters that go on all over the place. This man comes up to you and you want to play. You got a little Senate headpiece going on that you can't stop. You need to listen to learn, not listen to reply. You need to turn that little switch off in your brain that you want to run your mouth and argue every time somebody tells you something. Because this is disturbing the peace. You can go to jail and not go to work. So what's the choice you're going to make, hardhead? You're going to quit walking around businesses with a helmet on, scaring the hell out of people to where you got massive cops all over the place, rifles outside waiting for a shooter to come out? Laugh.
Yeah.
But that's where we're at. So pull your head out of your ass and quit arguing every time somebody tells you something. I'm telling you, look at what you're doing. You keep wanting to argue with me. I'm not the guy you want to argue with.
Wasn't trying to argue. I'm just
That's
trying
why
to
you
state
keep
my
talking.
point.
Stop talking. Okay, fine. Cool. Who went on register arrest?
Do you have his info?
Hold on.
I was gonna see if they want to trespass.
Yeah,
from here and
I
all
do
that.
want them trespass. I don't want back in this.
Okay, so officially being trespassed from the store, don't come back to Walmart. Come back to Walmart, manager, anyone sees you, you get arrested for that.
From the moment officers surrounded Mr. Fendler and ordered him to produce identification, he was detained. Not free to leave, not free to ignore them. In Florida versus Bostic decided in 1991, the Supreme Court held that the correct test for a seizure is whether a reasonable person would feel free to decline the officer's requests or otherwise terminate the encounter. No reasonable person surrounded by armed officers in order to show ID would feel free to walk away. So Mr. Fendler's Fourth Amendment protections were in play from the opening seconds. The manager's account that he followed Mr. Fendler halfway across the store and repeatedly demanded he stop is directly contradicted by what the camera shows. A brief approach from behind, ignored not out of defiance, but because a man with headphones inside a helmet simply did not hear him. Officers accepted that account without question, without interviewing any other witness, without waiting for Mr. Fendler's explanation to finish. Then Officer George did something that had nothing to do with investigating a trespass. He lectured. He threatened jail. He told a detainee to pull his head out of his ass. In Houston versus Hill, decided in 1987, the Supreme Court held that citizens retain the right to address or challenge officers whether or not they are performing their duties. Mr. Fendler was doing exactly that, and an officer with the power of arrest told him to stop talking. That is a First Amendment problem. Wearing a badge.
We don't have a picture taken with a helmet.
Well, you will when he walks out. It'll be on the camera when he walks out.
Thank you.
What's your telephone number?
Do I have to provide that, sir?
Yes, you do.
Alright. I gotta look it up on my phone.
And what else is in that pocket?
Just your phone.
All right. Give me the telephone number.
It's 520-427-4884.
Now keep in mind, if you come in here again,
She's ID.
you'll be arrested and you'll be booked for trespassing. And understand, what he's telling you, you're trespassing from Walmart, it's a national system. You're not just trespassing from this Walmart,
It's all
you're trespassing from all Walmarts and Sam's Clubs.
Okay. Cool.
So understand that. If something happens and you get pulled over or stopped in one of them other ones for wearing your helmet for stupid stunts like that, you'll find yourself sitting in county. Didn't have to be like that. But how many other people you see going to business walking around with a motorcycle helmet on?
Especially with the shootings in Daytona and freaking El Paso just happening.
Your goal is to
People are going to be on edge, they're going to be scared, they're going to be worried, okay? You got someone that walks in wearing a motorcycle helmet and has a backpack with military camouflage, they're going to think otherwise. They're not going to think it's just some law-abiding citizen.
you can
See how
walk
that
and
looks?
chew gum,
It's like
you
common,
take a helmet off.
it's kind of like common sense. I mean, like I said, he rides, I ride. I always take my helmet off. I mean, does it really save you that much time? Today it didn't.
Are you on medication
How old are
for
you?
mental health issues or anything?
How old are you? Tell me how old you are. Tell me how old you are. Okay, you're acting like a little child. How many times did you ask him to leave?
At least 5, 6 times. Just like he's ignoring you. I walk half the store with him, following him right to the side to ask him. After I told him many times that officers were coming out, and he just kept walking.
I'm thinking about it, especially the way he's acting. He asked him 5, 6 times to leave, followed him around the store.
I would say so. I'd say we lift the threshold. Why not?
So,
Especially the current behavior.
You you're asking about all the leases store?
5 or 6 times. Walk right next to him, just like we're walking right now.
You're under arrest for trespassing. You were told to leave the store, and you didn't want to
You want me to
cooperate.
take my jacket off?
Nope, I want you to leave your jacket on.
Right now. Turn around, please.
Wait, which way am I turning, man?
This way. Oh, there you go.
All right, you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against the court of law. You have the right to the presence of an attorney prior to question. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed for you. Do you understand those rights?
Mr. Fendler was arrested for disorderly conduct. Not trespassing, not shoplifting, not any act of aggression. Disorderly conduct in Arizona under Arizona Revised Statute 1329-2004 requires conduct that is tumultuous, offensive, or unreasonably disruptive. Being quiet after an officer orders you to stop talking does not meet that threshold. What happened instead was this. Officer George escalated a civil trespass matter into a criminal arrest because a young man in a motorcycle helmet stopped answering questions. In Florida v. Ray decided in 1983, the Supreme Court held that the scope of the detention must be carefully tailored to its underlying justification and that officers must use the least intrusive means available to resolve their suspicion. There was no underlying justification for an arrest once Mr. Fendler was trespassed. He was going. That was the resolution. The arrest was the extension. And nothing in those final minutes. No aggressive movement. No threatening word. No criminal act supported taking him into custody for a Class 1 misdemeanor that the charges would later confirm was baseless.
I'm going to take your silence as a yes. That's my finger that you can feel inside of each one of those, showing you have enough space that they're not too tight and binding. They're double locked, so they're not going to close up. Go ahead and walk. We'll search you outside here.
Did you get the manager's info?
Yeah, I got his info.
Okay, I'll take it.
Thank you, sir.
Well,
Then I'll get you.
here, do this. You want? I'll write the case.
What's up to you? I don't
Yeah, I can write it. I mean, I already got. I can't feel it.
Get it up there.
Here.
Is this guys?
Yeah, please. Yeah, with his attitude, he's clearly not going to listen. Yeah. That's why I decided to say, hey, let's just do this. Get over with.
I'm going to go back in there and check with them. If they're not okay to leave that bike there, I'm going to store it. Other than you, okay, look at this. I'll grab you a paper bag. We can start putting all this stuff.
Yeah. Just walk to. Alright, walk right here. There you go. Spread your feet. More. There you go.
You got anything?
No, wait. He's grabbing a bag right now.
The search of Mr. Fendler incident to arrest is only lawful if the arrest itself was lawful. And that is the entire problem here. In Riley v. California decided in 2014, the Supreme Court reaffirmed that a such incident to arrest must be tethered to a legitimate custodial arrest. If the disorderly conduct charge cannot survive scrutiny and the subsequent dismissal strongly suggests it cannot, then the search that flowed from it is equally suspect. Officers were courteous during the search itself and gave Mr. Fendler the opportunity to disclose contraband before transport, which reflects reasonable procedure. But courtesy during a search does not cure an unlawful predicate for that search. Mr. Fendler would spend 17 hours in the Puma County Adult Detention Center. The charges were dismissed.
I'll just give you the information here. If you go down to jail, they're going to strip search you when you get there. If you have any drugs, any contraband, weapons whatsoever, when you're there, it turns into a felony, where here it's probably not. So if you have anything on you like that, you need to tell us now, because there you'll be going before a Superior Court judge instead of just the county judge.
I don't.
Okay.
Not on me, at least. Okay. I don't know about my backpack, because I don't know I remember putting it in there. I don't think I have anything in there.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
Yeah, I'm going to go through his backpack and all that stuff. I'm good. Thanks. Okay.
Can't think of anything else, right?
Not that.
Right,
Think of.
his info, I'll drop his 27 in the call.
So real quick, I don't know if he explained to you or anything, but you're under arrest for disorderly conduct, okay? It's going to be a class 1 misdemeanor, okay? You'll probably see a judge, the nighttime judge, so forth, and you'll probably be released. Alright? You have any questions on that? Okay.
The final explanation to Mr. Fendler is measured and informative. The officer explains the charge clearly, tells him what to expect at booking, and answers his questions. That professionalism at the back end of this encounter cannot be discounted, but it also cannot erase what preceded it. The unreliable witness taken at face value, the investigation that never actually investigated, the First Amendment shutdown in the middle of a Walmart, and the arrest of a man who was on his way to work and had done nothing but wear his helmet. The context that officers cited. The El Paso shooting had occurred days earlier. 23 people killed at a Walmart. Was real, and the fear it generated in store employees was human and understandable. But fear is not a substitute for facts, and the law does not grant officers the authority to arrest someone because bystanders were nervous. Freedom Fendler gets a B+. He surrendered his identification immediately, answered every question put to him patiently and honestly, maintained his composure while an armed officer screamed in his face, and ultimately followed up the encounter with the correct legal remedy, a civil lawsuit. His only tactical miscalculation was his silence. Once he chose to stop speaking, he did not invoke his Fifth Amendment right on the record, saying the words, "I am invoking my right to remain silent matters because it converts a behavioral choice into a legally protected act, and the timing of his withdrawal could have been sharper." That said, Mr. Fendler was outnumbered, cornered, and had just been told that his words were the problem. His decision to go quiet was not a legal error. It was a human response to an impossible situation. The charges being dismissed and the lawsuit he filed suggests the legal system reached the same conclusion about what happened in that store. Officer John George gets an F. He arrived at a trespass call and turned it into a constitutional event. He accepted a manager's account as fact without examining surveillance footage, speaking to other witnesses, or allowing the suspect to complete an explanation that was entirely consistent with what the camera showed. He delivered a prolonged profanity-laced lecture to a detained man. Conduct that in Houston versus Hill, the Supreme Court identified as a First Amendment concern, and that in Florida versus Ray represents exactly the kind of investigation-halting extension of a stop that courts have looked at skeptically. He then arrested Mr. Fendler not for trespassing, not for any act of aggression, but for being quiet. The charge was dismissed. Officer George's behavior did not make his community safer. It made a 22-year-old spend 17 hours in a detention center for buying a sandwich and a Gatorade before work. The Walmart manager gets a D. His fear was understandable given what had happened in El Paso days earlier, and his concern about a helmeted backpack-wearing individual in his store is not irrational in that context. But his account of the interaction that he pursued Mr. Fendler halfway across the store, called out to him repeatedly, and stood directly in front of him is contradicted by the footage. He presented that account to officers as fact, and officers built an arrest on top of it. A witness who overstates what they observed is not a liar by default. Memory is fallible. Anxiety distorts perception. But the consequences of those overstated claims was a man losing a day of his life and facing a criminal charge that should never have been filed. The Sahuarita Police Department gets an F at the institutional level. Charges dismissed, lawsuit filed. That is the scorecard. No officer on scene questioned the manager's version of events. No one reviewed the store's security footage before making a custody decision. And the department's subsequent denial of wrongdoing compounds rather than addresses the failure. A legitimate investigation would have taken 5 minutes. Instead, officers chose to take a manager's word over a citizen's lived experience, and the record shows the citizen was telling the truth. Let us know if there's an interaction or legal topic you would like us to discuss in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to UK Badge Audit for daily police accountability analysis.